Hi guys, let's talk football. Let's go through my notes then of my notepad of week 1 of the Premier League results and my football predictions. So, starting with Liverpool versus Bournemouth. So this game kicked off on Friday the 15th at 8 p.m. Friday night kickoff. It started with some lovely tribute to Diogo Jota and Andre Silva, his brother, with a 2-minute silence to start the game. So that was very nice. So let's get into the goals and the action, what I thought of it. I feel like Arne Slot's team played some heavy metal football. I felt that finally returned to Anfield to start the season. So Liverpool did have 61% possession, and they had 19 shots on target. Shots in total to Bournemouth shots. Ekitike scores in the... so I'm just looking at my notepad. So I say a notepad, it's like I've got these revision cards today. Yeah, so Hugo Ekitike, I'm just basically going to be reading out what my notes are. Hugo Ekitike had a goal and assist. Once again, I've said that the Liverpool signings look very good. So Hugo Ekitike has a goal and an assist and scores the first goal in the 37th minute. Gakpo scores in the 49th minute. Chiesa scores in the 88th minute to give Liverpool the winner. The game was paused in the 29th minute, so early on in the game, following reports of discriminatory abuse from the crowd towards Semenyo, which is not nice to see, some racist abuse towards Semenyo in that game. But Semenyo showed resilience and showed what he would show that it wouldn't affect him by scoring in the 64th and 76th minute. So he scored 2 goals in the second half to get Bournemouth back in the game, to make it 2-2. Chiesa scored to make it 3-2, and then Salah finished it off in the last few minutes of the game to make the score 4-2 to Liverpool. And I said 3-0 to Liverpool. So I did get that wrong, but I did predict a Liverpool win. So yeah, that's my notes on the Liverpool-Bournemouth game. So the next game then was between Aston Villa and Newcastle, held at Villa Park at 12:30 on Saturday the 16th. So I said that the result would be 1-0 to Aston Villa. Unfortunately, it was quite a bore fest of a 0-0 draw. Newcastle did have more possession, and they had a lot more total shots than Villa. Ezri Konsa did get a red card in the 66th minute for being the last player, for pulling down the last man, as he was open to score. So that's why he got a red card. Not much to say about that one, but that's that result. Brighton versus Fulham then. This game kicked off at 3 p.m. I said the score would be 2-1. The score, however, was a 1-1 draw at home at Brighton. Brighton had a confident that believer... Can't get my words out. Brighton confident that Believer is staying at the club. They are believers of Carlos Believer. He does make a start for the Seagulls as well. So it's good to see him staying at the club for obviously Brighton fans. Matoma, put in my notes, had a good chance early on that is directed just over the net. Smith Rowe gives Fulham a corner. And Rodrigo Muniz converts the cross into a goal in the last few seconds of the game to give Fulham a goal. and Matt O'Reilly from a pen in the 55th minute. The score 1-1, and for that one I said 2-1. Moving on then for the 5:30 kickoff. Oh no, so we've got to do Spurs next. What am I talking about? I was getting ahead of myself. So Spurs versus Burnley. So this game was at home to Tottenham. I said 3-1 to Spurs. The score was 3-0 to Spurs. I was very close on that one, on that prediction. Tottenham had 67% possession. And then Richarlison scored in the 10th and 60th minute. Brennan Johnson in the 66th minute. Burnley make things too easy for Richarlison to score. I've put in my notes. I've also put that Richarlison's second goal was absolutely out of this world. One of the best, possibly going to be the best goals of the month. And Spurs were brilliant at attacking. That's a little review of that game. Right, Sunderland versus West Ham. I said 2-1 to West Ham. I thought the Hammers were going to beat Sunderland, as Sunderland have only just come up in the league, haven't they? Making their debut start. Sunderland won the game 3-0. A really good result, isn't it, for Sunderland, though? So got that one very wrong. Sunderland beat Hammers comfortably in the end. Meander scoring in the 61st minute. And then Dan Ballard in the 73rd minute. And then Isidore scores in the dying minutes of the game after coming on as a substitute. West Ham looked too open, I've put in my notes, and they basically just didn't put away enough chances, in my opinion. However, West Ham did have more possession in the game, but they didn't make enough of it, and just looked too open for Sunderland to punish them. Next was Wolves versus Man City at 5:30 kickoff at home to Wolves. Manchester City won that game 4-0, and I put 3-0 to Man City, so very close. Haaland scored in the 34th minute after a slow start from City. Reinders made a big impact in creating the goal. I've put in my notes that Reinders shows why they signed, scoring just a few minutes after Haaland. Erling Haaland did actually go on and score another goal, so he scored in the 34th minute and the 61st minute. And Tijani Reinders in the 37th, as I've mentioned. Ryan Cherky, is it Ryan Cherky? I think you pronounce it Ryan Cherky. Made a debut goal, scoring in the 81st minute. And I've just put in my notes here that Reinders was just absolutely amazing in that game, and whether or not he can be a replacement for the great Kevin De Bruyne, we'll have to see what he can do. But yeah, good result for Man City. Right, so moving on to Sunday's games then on the 17th. At home to Stamford Bridge, they took on Crystal Palace. I said 2-1 to Chelsea. The score was a 0-0 bore fest. Not really a bore fest, but obviously a bit of a boring result. Estavio didn't have the best impact, but he did unfortunately have a good chance towards the end of the game, but it was a pretty poor shot from him. But yeah, Estavio, however you want to say it, he's an 18-year-old, signed obviously Brazilian for Chelsea, so it'd be interesting to see what he can do. I was put in my notes that Eze scores, but the goal was not allowed as Mark Gahey moves into Chelsea's wall, and he was within I think it's like 1 foot within the Chelsea wall, and that is not allowed when the ball's taken, when the ball is shot. Chelsea had 72% possession. Palace had more shots on target, however, in that game, but it was a 0-0 draw. Right, Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. Forest made a good start to their Premier League campaign, winning 3-1 at the City Ground. Chris Wood scored 2 of the goals in the 5th minute and the 47th minute. and Dan Ndiaye in the 42nd. And then Brentford's Igor Thiago scored from a penalty in the 78th minute. Morgan Gibbs-White had a sensational display out there. And I've also put that Brentford were no match for a rampant Forest team in my notes to sum it up. But yes, I said 2-1 and the score was 3-1. So a close prediction from me again. Right, next we got Manchester United, my team versus Arsenal. This was at 4:30 p.m. kickoff. Let's have a look at me notes then. So I said 1-1. I thought it was going to be a draw. Arsenal won the game 1-0. Very good result for Arsenal, you know, going away to Old Trafford. They got Old Trafford out of the way now, so they don't have to worry about that. Let's go through the lineup. I don't normally do this, but obviously I'm a Man U fan. Start of the season, Ruben Amorim started. Binder, Lenny Yoro, De Ligt, Shaw, Dalot, Casemiro, Fernandes, Dorgu, Mbumo, Cunha and Mount. For Arsenal, they started their new signings, Zubimende and Gyökeres, however you want to say it. Manchester United, we had more possession on the ball, 61% possession. Shots 22 to Arsenal's 9. So, right, let's have a look at my notes. So I've put Arsenal's mastery of corners continues as Calafiori scores from a header just 13 minutes in. And I've also put that Bienda's goalkeeping was just so subpar today. Not today, sorry, when the game was on. It's a real shame, really, because I just think he could have done better. And some people were saying that it was a foul on Bienda, which you could look at it that way, but I would go more that Bienda should have done more, and it wasn't a foul in my opinion. Dorgu has a great performance. He almost, I put in my notes that he almost hit the post in that game. And he just looked really good, and so did De Ligt look great in that game as well. So yeah, overall good performance from Manchester United. Sesko obviously didn't really create too much, but he also made some good runs and he looked okay, just no scoring. So it's a shame we didn't get any result out of the game. I feel like it deserved to be at least a draw, and you could even argue that Man United were obviously the better team, so maybe they should have won the game. But yeah, unfortunately, Arsenal did score early on, and that should never really have happened if the goalkeeper was able to punch that out. Moving on then to Leeds versus Everton on Monday Night Football. I said 2-1 to Everton against Leeds. Leeds, however, did beat Everton with a very controversial penalty decision. Basically, the ball hit Tarkowski's arm, which gave Leeds a penalty, which was scored by Lucas Mecha in the 84th minute. And I've put in my notes that it was a good showing from Leeds on their first Premier League game of the season coming up from the Championship. For them, 3 points is always going to be good. Leeds actually surprisingly had 21 shots in total, and Everton only had 7 in that game. But yeah, bit of a controversial one. I personally don't think it was a penalty, but Leeds will take it, won't they? Because I think it was a ball to hand and not a handball decision. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the my Aussies notebook of my predictions and then the results. I will see you in the next video after week 2. Cheers, have a good week.